Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Topher Drives, where today you join me for an airport commute in this 2025 Lexus LX 700h Overtrail. It's that time of year where I am just traveling a ton, and well, this is our chariot to the airport parking lot this morning. So this week has been no different. I've been traveling as well. I haven't spent a ton of time in this, but I still wanted to share a little bit of a drive with you guys. So we'll walk you around it today, and then we'll jump on the road. I want to get to the airport by 11. We have 24 minutes to do so, and we'll see if we can accomplish that today. So this Overtrail trim is new for 2025, as is the LX 700h badge. H, of course, meaning hybrid. So under the hood of this J300 Land Cruiser badged as a Lexus is a 3.4 liter twin turbo V6 with an electric motor, combined power output 457 horsepower, 583 pound-feet of torque. That is mated to a 10-speed automatic, and this is full-time four-wheel drive. So normal Land Cruiser stuff. What I like so much about this is the fact that it's even in America still, because of course we no longer have the full-size Toyota Land Cruiser in North America. We only have the Prado, which Toyota still markets as the Land Cruiser. They still call it the Land Cruiser stateside, but we all know that it's the Prado everywhere else in the world. So if you want a full-size Toyota truck, this is your choice. You can only get the Lexus version in 2025, and I think since 2022 is when they killed the full-size Land Cruiser here in America. You can still get it in other markets, and if you're watching from one of those markets, we are all jealous. We miss it, but at least we still have this. This is finished in earth, and the Overtrail trim does actually get you a few goodies. We have front and rear locking diffs. We have 33-inch all-terrain tires on these unique 18-inch wheels. This is a Toyo Open Country AT. I mentioned they were 33s, but exact tire size is a 265/70R18 squared setup. You can see some remnants of this going off-road. The Topher took this to Holly Oaks a few days ago, so that video will probably be out before this one. You all can go check that out if you want to see what this is like off-road. But you know, we like to be realistic on Topher Drive, so we're going to see what this off-road variant of the LX 700 is like as an airport commuter. And let's start in the back, because I actually have some things with me today, of course, as we are traveling. I'm actually going to Houston, Texas to drive a new Genesis product. I'm sure Lexus would love to hear that. Sorry, Lexus. In the back, I have my suitcase, I have my backpack, and this LX 700 is a 3-row, but the third row is a bit small, and as you can see with my stuff back here, it's completely useless. But I'm going to try and fit everything on this little shelf, and we kind of saw a similar situation in the Toyota Sequoia hybrid, where you don't really have room for much behind the third row. I'm going to see if we can make this happen. Okay, so these are power folding third row seats. We don't have time to sit in the third row today, unfortunately, but just know that it's snug, and we do actually have plenty of content on this newest Gen LX. Oh dear. Might be able to get them to just go forward slightly. I like the idea of my stuff being snug back here so it doesn't move around. There you go. You can fit probably 2 of those like small size suitcases if you have the third row up. Let's see if this is happy enough to shut. Now you may be thinking, oh, well, there's no room in there for a spare tire. And you would be correct. That is why Lexus put it under the vehicle. And it is actually a full-size spare. You can see it. It's so big that it barely fits under there. You can see it from behind the SUV. Actually, while I'm behind here, that reminds me, this can tow 8,000 pounds. So quite functional. It does weigh 3 tons. It's about 5,900 pounds. So it ain't light, but, you know, I think exterior-wise, this is still quite... It's very Lexus still. It's very kind of understated, even in this very sort of basic 2025 earth color. Everyone has a tan like this of some sort, or a gray. But it's still classy. They've managed to keep the reserved look, even with these silly all-terrain tires and small 18-inch wheels. Let's pop the hood and show you this 3.4 liter twin turbo hybrid setup. There's the latch. Actually haven't opened this yet. Let's see what we got. There you go. Look at that. The Topher didn't even get that dirty. Pretty nice engine cover there. all of our orange hybrid tech wires running everywhere. But I mean, just a pretty honest engine bay. There is no V8 option anymore with the Lexus LX, or even in other markets with the J300 full-size Land Cruiser. They are all either a V6. Actually, I think they are all V6s. I know there's like some diesel variants and things, and of course the hybrid. But the V8 is gone, and I mean, we're kind of seeing this like across the line for Toyota now. They don't really do V8s in their trucks anymore. They don't do V8s in any of their trucks, do they? Just their sports vehicles. In the back, you can see we have this two-tone brown and black leather. Obviously, with this being a Lexus, it is very soft, and I like touching it. Let's jump in with our handle. All 4 passengers here, all 4 doors, get a handle to help you get up into the interior. Once you're in here, you're just isolated from everything. That station, that cell phone tower over there, very noisy. The highway's very noisy. You can't hear it when you're in this Lexus. So lots of sound deadening, adds to the 3-ton weight, of course. We have sunshades here to block out the haters, I suppose. I don't know what the joke is with those. We have a 25 speaker Mark Levinson sound system. That is actually like the one option that this car has. Pretty much everything else comes standard on the Overtrail. We'll put the spec in the description as we do for you guys. Fold down center armrest, pop-up cup holders. As far as room back here, it's fine. I actually have a pretty abundant amount of headroom. This is sat behind myself. I think this is in its comfort access, so it'll go forward a couple of inches. But the thing about these new LXs is they haven't really gotten bigger. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing as far as like philosophical full-size Land Cruiser. I mean, my buddy Dane has a 2000 LX 470, and this feels like it's about the same size as that. And I think that's okay. You just have to accept that you're in the market, you're buying a full-size SUV. The interior in these, it's a little bit smaller than some other vehicles in the competition, especially if you go for the ultra luxury trim. It deletes the middle seat, and it makes things feel even more cramped. So definitely go and look at it before you pull the trigger. Heated ventilated seats, full climate panel back here. We have a couple of USB-C ports. We have vents. The console is able to open from the back, as it is a cool box if you want to grab your snacks out of there. It actually opens 3 ways. 1, 2, 3. So that is nice. We have some map lights, no panel roof, just kind of a regular sunroof. Okay, let's jump up front and let's go drive it. We're speed running this walk around today. Apologies for talking a mile a minute, but we have places to be today. Up front, really nice mix of materials here on the door panel. Really nice kind of open pore wood, really soft leathers as we saw in the back seat. And this is one thing Lexus is never going to skimp on. It's the softness of their leathers, the quality of their wood. And even though this interior is a little bit small, and it does actually feel even smaller up front, you do at least feel cocooned in luxury. So let's jump in with our running board, which is actually usable. You know, sometimes you get these off-road running boards and they're like this wide, but this is usable. And I think these are able to be larger because we have the adaptive variable suspension on this, hydraulic suspension. A lot of people think it's air suspension. It's not, it's hydraulics. It can give you all the way up to 10 inches of ground clearance in its highest setting. So this is no joke. You know, this thing can do all of the off-road stuff. But today we'll kind of spend our time talking about how this hydraulic suspension rides just in a real world setting. So let's start this up and go for a drive. There is, of course, no starter sound, but that 3.4 liter twin turbo V6 does come to life. Up front, not a ton has changed. There are a couple very small things. I think this shifter has been changed out recently. I've never really spent a lot of time with the newest Gen LX, but I'm doing my best to show it off to you today. It always seems like when we have one, I'm out of town traveling, so I have only spent like a day with this car, but I've been trying to soak it all in as much as possible. I'm gonna adjust this climate control down. How do I sync it to that side? Probably just press the climate concierge button and forget about the climate control altogether. Anyway, this is probably the biggest elephant in the room here with this LX besides the cargo situation in the back, and it's this split screen setup. Now, don't get mad at me. I do love Lexus, but this just feels a little bit out of place in here. It feels a little rushed. It feels like kind of an afterthought. This seems integrated nicely, this very small screen down here, which controls our climate control, our suspension level, and then settings for the screen altogether. That's fine. That's well integrated. This looks a little bit awkward in here, I think, and I like having an infotainment system. Obviously, it's got wireless CarPlay. It does everything I want it to do. It's a Google-based system. It reacts quickly. I just think, I don't know. I don't know if it looks six figures to me. With that out of the way, everything else in here does work just fine. Console sticks up pretty high. You know, I've got a nice soft console here for my elbow. We have physical buttons to raise and lower the suspension, which we love to see. Diff locks, traction off. We've got these buttons here to control our drive modes, but we'll continue talking while we're on the road because I have 12 minutes to do about 20 minutes of driving. So let's get this thing into reverse and get it going on the road. Pretty good 360 camera, which you'll see will turn transparent as we start driving. Nice reversing camera quality as well. We see this 360 camera in like all of the new Toyota stuff, but this is kind of where it started. This car kind of pioneered it with the transparent nature to aid you in off-roading. You can drive at low speeds or just low, throttle inputs in EV mode. Transitions are beautiful, of course, considering this is a Toyota hybrid. I like to think that they are kind of the experts in this field with making hybrids. Even with these kind of untraditional hybrids with a regular torque converter automatic, they still seem to be doing a pretty good job. I don't know why I'm slowing down for that. Do not need to with my big sidewalls and adaptive suspension. Nice little ND Miata. It's a good day for that. Silky smooth V6, pretty quiet, and nice gear changes from the 10-speed automatic. I've had no lurchiness or weirdness from any of the inputs on this LX 700H. I've never driven another vehicle that feels so similar to sailing a boat. I think that's kind of the way that I want to describe this today. All of the movements, all of the motions from this LX, they're all very fluid. It's wild the amount of adjustments that the suspension does on the fly. It's constantly tweaking itself to make you as comfortable as possible. It's so soft. You have quite a bit of body roll from this. Steering is very light, but it's very velvety. It's very smooth. And every Lexus kind of has this same steering feel. Even like down to the LC500, they all kind of steer the same, but this, yeah, you don't feel like you're driving on the road. You feel like you're like on the sea, like I said, or like kind of in an airplane going through some clouds. It's such a soft suspension feel. We're gonna take this corner up here. Now, you can switch what this dial does by pushing one of these three buttons. You've got multi-terrain select for mud, dirt, sand, or deep snow. Drive mode is what you want to be in when you're on the road. You can use this dial, which goes backwards, and put yourself into Sport, Sport S Plus, Eco, Comfort, or Normal. We'll just go regular Sport, and we're going behind some sort of utility truck, so, which is fine, because this, you don't want to push this SUV around corners. It's not the most fun thing. That is for sure. I like this pace. That is just fine. But we are going to power out. very quick shifts from the 10-speed automatic. And when you come off of power and the front end dips down, the suspension actually compensates and levels the car back out on a little bit of a delay. So you do notice it, but it's pretty cool to feel, actually. Curious to see what the noise is like on the highway with these tires. Should we go Sport S Plus? That's normal. Sport S Plus. Here we go. Nice Grand Marquis. Okay. Let's calm this thing down. It's pretty quick. I mean, it's quick enough. I think for an SUV this size, especially a Lexus, you don't really expect it ever to rip your face off. So I think we have a good amount of power here in this. Let's put it down into comfort mode. Let's make this as soft as possible for our little bit of highway here. And we'll get on down the road to the airport in luxury and confidence today. It is just unbelievably soft in comfort mode. It's like borderline sketchy. That's okay. As long as you don't make any sudden movements, you'll be just fine. All right, onto the highway we go. We do have quite a suite of driver aids here in this LX 700H. What I like so much about these Toyotas is it literally is one button push and you're in cruise control. Of course, you can adjust your speed, you can adjust your following distance for the adaptive cruise. All of it lives on the steering wheel, and these are all physical buttons. I feel like Lexus had a little bit of a period where, or maybe they still do, I think on the NX and the RX, where they had these weird haptic touch buttons that you controlled in the head-up display. But as far as this steering wheel, I mean, everything works great. I mean, this car does still feel somewhat old school, and I like that about it. Even though it's only been out since 2022, they haven't really gotten rid of the classic Lexus LX feel, the classic SUV feel. They don't want this LX to be able to fly around a corner. They don't handling is not their number one priority for this. And I like that. I think body roll is fine. And I said that in my 2005 Lincoln Town Car video. I miss body roll. This has lots of body roll, so I'm a pretty big fan. I mean, it's soaking up this very terribly paved section of I-94. No problem whatsoever here. These Toyos make a little bit of noise. Hear a little bit of howl going on there. Not too bad. Main thing I'm noticing right now is that I have almost half a tank and only 92 miles of fuel range. The fuel tank size is abysmal. It's only 17.9 gallons, and for a car that gets 17 miles to the gallon, your fuel range is not going to be great. You're only going to be getting 250 miles out of a tank or something like that. It's kind of what we've been seeing this week, or what the Topher has reported seeing this week out of this LX. So I feel bad giving this back with what's going to be probably only 80 miles of range, but it's going to have well over a quarter of a tank. So it's just the way that it is, I suppose. I think what happens is with some of these hybrid vehicles and with certain four-wheel drive setups, they lose room for a fuel tank. And with a big overlanding rig like this, you think you want to be taking this out into the wilderness on big adventures and things. I don't know. There are some compromises that you have to make with this LX. And I'm also wondering what reliability is going to be like with this 3.4 liter, because I know in other platforms, in the Tundra and the Sequoia, there have been some explosions. Not big balls of fire, but there have been engine failures. So if you work at Lexus or Toyota, maybe you can chime in on that. Obviously, this vehicle's only got 2,400 miles on it. Everything's working great. So I can't speak to long-term reliability. I don't know anyone that owns one of these. But if you do own one, please sound off in the comments and let me know how your experience has been. I would love to know. Love the vent placement on this. Very big vents with big vent tabs, very easy to adjust, easy to get the air exactly where you want. I don't know what the problem is lately with all these companies like hiding vents. I don't care if I can see the vents. I just want to be cool and collected and relaxed. And I am all of those things here in the LX. This adaptive cruise seems to do a really, really sweet job. It's a Ford Taurus wagon. Check that out. That looks quite tidy as well. Wow, really clean. It's because the original owner is driving it. That makes sense. Ergonomically, seating position in this is just fine. We actually have a camera rearview mirror as well, so you can see out of the back, even if you have the third row seats folded up with passengers back there. Your sight is not blocked. Side view mirrors are massive, and just kind of the open greenhouse of this. Door panels are pretty high up. You can still drive this like a proper Land Cruiser. You can rest your elbow on the top of the door panel. I love the seating position in this. I've got the seat in the lowest position. I can see almost all the way to the front of the hood. My right arm is comfy, and if you're driving like this, I mean, honestly, both elbows are comfy. Door panel, good amount of squish there as well. And I like that Lexus hasn't put piano black down here. I like this wood. If I could change one thing material-wise, it would be a little bit of wood here on this steering wheel. Otherwise, though, it's just about perfect. Ride quality is sublime. I mean, this is just one of the most comfortable vehicles you'll ever ride in. I want to take this on a road trip because I think this seat as well. Oh yeah, we've got some good lumbar going on. Can move lumbar up too. Oh, this is fabulous. Quite nice. 3 memory settings for the seat as well. It's a leg extension. Ooh, very nice. Very good adjustability. I think, there's something to be said about how long Lexus has kept their interior quality. I'm not talking about how I said, I'm not huge on the double screen setup. I'm talking about overall build quality in here. The fact that there's not a single rattle in this interior. The fact that everything is stitched, everything is soft. They've left some wood. It's a very, very nice place to sit. And, I like the GX. I like the current model year Land Cruiser that's here in the US. But they just don't feel anything like this big, full-size, body-on-frame lug-so barge.
Braking ahead.
Ugh! Wait to go past this abandoned Chrysler 300. If anyone wants a free Chrysler 300 right before the Merriman Road exit here on 94. But yeah, here we go. We're about to get off the highway. We're going to take this. We'll just end it at a hotel over here in the vicinity. So I don't want to freak out the airport people and be driving in with a camera on my face. I feel like things are a little bit more touchy at the airport. You don't want to freak anybody out because you never know what kind of list they could add you to. So we're going to take the camera off before we get into the airport. It would probably be fine, but a little bit different than the Culver's drive-through. So what can we conclude then here on this LX 700H? Well, I don't think we've talked about price yet. It's a bit of a hefty one, but in the grand scheme of Lexus LXs, it's actually not even close to being the most expensive. This starts around 114 grand. This one as spec'd with the 25 speaker Mark Levinson, which, oh my goodness, we need to test real quick, is about $118,000. So, this one with the Earth exterior, the Mark Levinson, still sneaking just below the $120,000 mark. And I think a lot of what you're paying for here is the technology. It's the quality inside. You're not necessarily paying for space in this. And that's just something that you have to expect. Not everyone wants a massive vehicle. Not everyone wants a Suburban. And if you don't want to spend $120,000 on a Cadillac Escalade, this would be a good alternative for you. So keep that in mind and definitely give the Lexus LX a chance. It still feels like a very high quality product, and I do quite like driving it. Let's quickly test this sound system and then we will wrap up for today. So sorry, I'm cutting you guys a little bit short today, but I got to get a move on. What you have to know about this 25 speaker Mark Levinson is that it is very, very crispy, very high quality sounding. We have a lot of speakers around the dashboard area, and you kind of get like the sound stage vibe with this. You can put it in 3D mode, but it does still sound like it's coming from the front. And I do like that. I think that kind of adds to the character of this, and it just, you know, it's a really high quality sound system. I don't really know what else to say. I wish I could personally shake Mark Levinson's hand. Is he a real person? I should probably look into that. I'm actually going to leave this running because I'm just going to get right back in it and start driving again. But as a plane flies over, a Delta plane, look at that. Cool. All right. So how is this LX 700H as an airport commuter? Well, it got the job done in comfort, and you know, ease of use here is pretty good as well. I think there are a couple of things that they could improve on, but it's very small tweaks, and this is still unapologetically Lexus LX. Do I miss the V8? Yes. Is there still plenty of power from the V6? Yes. And I think it just looks the business. So thank you guys all so much for watching. Sorry this one felt a little bit rushed, but you know, that's all part of getting to the airport. I don't know if you guys are like me, where you kind of cut it pretty close, but it just adds to the thrill. And then you don't have to sit around in your gate for too long like you're traveling with your parents as a kid. So, okay, that's gonna wrap it up for us today. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Take care.